you need to learn how to use a manual camera. Those are, you have to learn the fundamentals when it comes to photography and videography. Without that, then you're just going to move along and then down the road stumble because you'll be like, oh, I don't know how to do this, or I'm so confused.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm here with Danny. He is the filming lead here at Calvary Tucson, and he's going to show us a little bit of their studio setup here. Danny, what do you got?
Well, right now here you're looking at pretty much our main filming location that we use here at Calvary. The main thing, I guess we can jump into that. What about the filming set, it's going to be the lighting.
Yeah.
That's always going to be the key thing.
Nice. So what kind of lights do you run?
It always depends. You don't want to run too many lights all the time. It just depends on the character that you want. You want to create some contrast into the look and the feel of your video. It could just be some basic key light. The main thing you're always going to want is your key light, some fill light, and always some rear light. The rear light is going to make your subject really pop. Otherwise, you're going to get that. You see the videos out there, whether live stream or other podcasts, or videos created at home, it just looks so flat. You can have like a really, really fancy camera, $10,000. You can have a red camera if you want, but if you don't have good lighting, it's just going to be pretty much pointless. I can shoot from a cell phone, but if you have really good lighting, then that's just going to top it all off. So
your camera's as good as your lighting.
Exactly.
Basically.
Yeah.
Nice.
I can technically be shooting this from a cell phone, which we're not right now, but I could, and you got the good lighting, it's going to come out really nice.
What's like a good temperature of light? Like, do you have we do 4600 or?
It depends on the mood. The majority of the time, we're going to be shooting on the most standard, which is 5600K. Is very, very neutral when it comes into skin tones.
Is that what this is right now?
We're shooting at 5600 right now. Nice. There's a difference though on our rear light is warm light. You got that warm light, and the intention for this is because we wanted to make it feel more cozy, homey feel like, more office feel. Which is why we use. I personally love using the warm light. If you look at our footages on the rear, because it just, I don't know, there's just something really clean about it. The shoulder lighting and all that stuff. Not sure if you can see our rear light right now. It's a basic RGB with white and warm, and that right there is just what's giving us that little touch of that rear light. If we were to kill that, you will immediately see the difference. It's just blah, it's just flat. Right above us, I'm not sure if you can see it right now, but we have a giant, I believe this is a 50 something inch diffused LED light. We're shooting at 56K, and I have a grid on these. I love using the grids because they diffuse your light, they don't disperse it to the side, and it just goes directly into your subject. That keeps from your light washing out your background, washing out your lenses, overexposing, of course, with correcting your camera. So I personally love using the grids, especially when it comes to a very dramatic scene. We use the grids a lot. For photography, they come in very helpful.
What kind of light is it? GODOX?
The lightings we have, they're GODOX, and they're you can find them on Amazon. We have a SL150, if I'm correct, 50 watt. It does really good. You can see the difference as soon as you turn the knob on this, so they're very accurate. I would really recommend this one. It's very affordable. Nice. Sometimes you can probably get a package with it. You can get the whole umbrella, with it, a stand, whatever it is. But the light is the most important thing. You can get attachments as you go on. You can get the DSL60s or 60 watts when you don't need something as bright. You can use it for something a little more basic. Nice. They're not as accurate when it comes into the dimming. You can't really tell the difference, but they do the job, trust me. We use those a lot as well. On the sides for our key light, fill light right now, I have 3 RGBs. These are GVMs that we have, and I believe they are the 880 model. I love them. I'm very happy with it. There's a newer model out there that you could, if you can, definitely upgrade to that. They're very accurate on the dimming. The RGB, they're pretty clean. They're very bright. Right now, like I have these guys probably at 30 to 40%. It just depends on which angle they are. They got the diffusers on. The grids on these were great, and it shoots a really nice beam towards you, and is really soft and diffused. And it keeps from your light washing out all over. So the GVMs are really recommend. Those are very popular. You see them everywhere, especially for podcasts. They're small. They're very practical.
Yeah.
You throw them on the suitcase and you just go on your way.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so we got some lighting. Tell us about what cameras you like to run with. Or
Cameras.
what you currently have, I guess, and what you wish you had too.
So the current cameras we have right now are the Pocket Cinemas 4K. These are the Blackmagic Pocket Cinemas. We're very content with them right now. They do an amazing job. Again, as long as you have the right lighting and the design, you're going to be very, very pleased with it. It's all about just the creativity. We have these Pocket Cinemas, and we use Meike lenses. You could also find those on Amazon. I believe they were about $400 a lens. They're fixed lenses, cinema lenses, and they're very sharp, and they're very, very super smooth. Good glass, heavy. Right now, we are running on, for this latest shoot that we did, for example, we're using a 50 millimeter, we're using a 25 millimeter, and we have a 16 millimeter. We put the 16 millimeter aside right now because we're trying to avoid the really, really extreme wide angle. Yeah. And we're adding a Canon 24-70 2.8. It's a faster lens, but it gives you that really rich, shallow depth of field. Because it's a micro four thirds camera and our lens is not, so we added a speed booster on that. And the speed booster, I would highly recommend for you to get a speed booster, whether it's for a Sony or a Canon or a Pocket Cinema. You're gonna spend a few $100s on a speed booster, and it's gonna make your $400-$300 lens turn into like a $1,000 lens. It's gonna give you 2 to 3 more stops and faster. And that's just the beauty of a speed booster versus a basic standard attachment that costs like $20.
Yeah, nice. So when you're shooting like a studio podcast, how many camera angles do you typically run, or what's optimal? Like 1, 2, 3?
Of course, the more cameras, the more creative you can get. But also the more cameras going to be probably more distracting. You also want to take into consideration, oh my God, look at all these cameras. But you also want to make it clean. If you look at really, really high-end production, you look at Netflix stuff, if you look at behind the scenes, they probably have like 3 cameras or 2 cameras. With 2 cameras, you can probably get like 4, 6 different angles, especially if you can adjust on the fly. You got one camera shooting and the other camera you're adjusting with your zoom. You're cropping out. And that gives you different angles. AI stuff gives us a lot of creativity now these days. Nice. Usually we're going to shoot with 3 different cameras in here mostly. At least for my part, I always love to see those tight shots. If you don't have that tight shot, I just personally don't feel it, especially when it comes into a church. So I use one definitely for a tight shot always, and then I use a semi-wide shot just to show a little bit of the body movement, because that is very important. As you know, you have a speaker, you want to see that body language. And then perhaps I'll use one for an over the shoulder. It's a very standard shot, especially during an interview. Or you can just use that as a semi straight on shot into your subject. Gotcha. And from there, again, you can crop those shots. So you literally have 9 different shots that you can get from 3 cameras. Nice. You don't have to, and you also don't want to do too many different shots, because then it's just too much. You want to make it simple, and you want your video to be appreciated. You want your audience to focus on what your speaker or guest is talking about, and not be having so many different angles. So that is always the key to watch your camera shots. You know, there's if it's one camera, then you can just do two different shots and you can get away with it. But I personally love the three camera angle.
All right, and last thing, audio. So we talked lighting, video. What about audio? Like what mics do you like to run? How do you capture it?
For audio, we love wireless, and the reason we love wireless is because it's you're not worried about running another piece of equipment here. Coming above, it just gets on the way. It's easier to hide it from your guest. And
so what kind of wireless solution do you use or prefer?
so right now we have a Shure. This is a QLXD1. This is more of a standard basic beginner. It's like in the middle higher end start. The microphone, I don't know if this microphone came with it, but this is a cool little square dude here, and it's a Shure 93. That's what it is. It picks up the audio really clean. And the cool thing about this pack is that there's no buttons in here. So when you have your guest coming in, like for example, this guy's sitting in, and we can just put it on the side of the chair, and they're not going to press any button. It's got a little just on and off, and you don't have to worry about them muting it or anything like that. For the receiver, we have the receiver that comes along with it. And then to record the audio or to monitor, we use our RodeCasters. RodeCasters are viral. They're super popular, especially for podcasts. Usually they come in with 4 inputs, and you have a lot of features on it, whether it's audio, Bluetooth. You can do your special effects, you know, claps and laughs and stuff like that.
Nice.
So I would really recommend a RodeCaster. Those will always come in recommended. You can see them on YouTube, Instagram, and everybody has a RodeCasters in there.
So does the RodeCasters just audio things, or does that do anything else, like camera shots? Like, you know what I mean? Can you do anything camera related or just audio?
The RodeCaster will only focus on the audio.
Okay,
correct.
cool.
If you're looking into the camera, then you can look to a camera switcher.
Okay.
Podcasters, or for basic studios like this, what they use would be more of a podcast. If you want a switcher, or for a small church, we'll get into that in a bit. Then you're going to look into a switcher, which is a perhaps an A10 Mini. A10 Mini Pro would be more recommended. It gives you a lot more features. If you invest in an A10 Mini, immediately you're going to realize I should have gotten the A10 Mini Pro.
I actually don't think they make the A10 Mini anymore. Like, you could probably buy them somewhere, but I think
because that's
Blackmagic,
how outdated they are, right?
Yeah.
So I believe we have an A10 Mini, and it's saved us from a lot. But definitely you want to go. The A10s, they do a great job when it comes to camera switching. I personally don't shoot or any filming with the switcher because we prefer to do the editing afterwards. Otherwise, now you're risking a shot that perhaps you did not like, and now that's what you have.
What would you say for someone just starting out, like, hey, this is what you need to get? Like, you know, if someone's like, hey, I don't know nothing about any of this, but I want to do something, what would you be like, hey, you got to get these things?
Honestly, if you're starting from scratch, you know, hypothetically speaking, let's just say you're starting from scratch. Start with your cell phone.
Yeah.
You know, start exploring through your cell phone, or what can you do with your cell phone. Get yourself a basic good microphone. You can do a wireless microphone, plug it in, and get yourself 1 or 2 basic lights. Start from there. Don't go and buy a Sony when you don't even know how to use your cell phone features. That's going to be the biggest mistake you make. That I've actually heard people say, I really want to get a red camera. And I'm like, bro, you don't even have lights.
Yeah.
So you can get a $20,000, $50,000 red camera, but if you don't have the lighting or the right lenses, it's going to be pointless. I can shoot from my iPhone and shoot better than a red camera because I have a good lighting and the you know, the stage behind it. So I would say start with the cell phone. If you're starting off scratch, you can actually live stream your church service from your cell phone, as long as you have the good lighting and setup in front of you. And then you can just upgrade to a decent camera. You know, if you're gonna get a camera, go with the Sony. Sonys are super high rated. In addition, of course, to the Hollywood stuff. And I believe we're talking about that already. The FX3 right now is a top-rated full-frame Sony. Probably Sony has come up with right now for filming, and that's actually on our wish list. I don't know when, but I'll just continue to dream and pray about it. Maybe it'll come along, one of these Christmas. I don't know. But again, I could say that's high end. You're talking over $4,000 just for a body of a camera. But start with something basic. Pocket Cinemas, I mean, right now they're running at about $1,200, I believe, the cameras. But if you can't afford that, start basic. Don't think that the more you spend, the better your product is going to be. The more creative and the more you learn about your lighting and your aperture, your ISO, and if you know how to manage those, you need to learn how to use a manual camera. You have to learn the fundamentals when it comes to photography and videography. Without that, then you're just going to move along and then down the road stumble because you'll be like, oh, I don't know how to do this, or I'm so confused. So start with something very affordable, basic camera, couple of lights, get your tripod, get a microphone, and then take it from there. And you're going to start learning, start editing from your phone. You can actually start edit these videos on your phone and then throw it out there, and then you're going to learn so fast. The more you do it, you'll start learning. Next thing you know, you're like, oh, now I know what camera to get afterwards. And then you just start moving from there.
Sweet. All right, I think that's pretty good. So thanks, Danny. And if you got any questions, drop it in the discussion down there. Find any notes of some of the products that he talked about in the description, and we'll see you on the next one.
Cool.
Good?
That was awesome.
Now we can
I think so.